Welcome, everyone, to the Crystal Starnes Show with your TV producer and host, Crystal Starnes. Today, we are having a fabulous guest that's coming on. He's a country star. He's well known around the world, and his name is Doug Adkins. But first, I want to say thank you for Just TV for airing this on your network. And I want to say thank you to all of you that are tuning in today. Let's welcome Doug to the show. Hi, Doug. How are you?
Thank you, Crystal. I think we're doing great. Well, we're very, very happy to be here and always honored and thrilled to meet new people, maybe new fans, new friends. And so thank you.
You're welcome. And I'm so happy you're on here. I can't wait to hear all about you and like how you got started. And so I guess to start with, how did you get started in doing country singing?
Well, that's my mother, Marilyn, was always a singer, Marilyn Adkins, and she had a band in Plentywood, Montana, clear up there, way away from everything. And and the county that they lived in was named Sheridan County. So they named their little trio the Sheridaneers. And it was my mama and her sister and their best friend Marion. And they would go around and they'd sing songs like in three-part harmony, like Blue Moon, da 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 da. That 50s style three-part harmony, beautiful stuff. And they had a little bit of a career, and but I definitely got the love of music from her. Um, well, and then my sister Jacklyn played the piano, and she was 9, and Betty Jo was 7, and I was 6. And my mom would dress us up in matching outfits, and we'd go around to fairs and elderly homes, and we'd put on concerts and things like that. So that was my first taste of the music business.
Wow. Well, it's in your family, so well, you're born into it.
Yeah.
Natural.
Yeah, pretty blessed actually. Pretty, very, very happy about the way things turned out. I mean, I could have been a little more famous or a little more richer, but on the flip side of that is, I'm one of the only guys that gets to do whatever the heck he wants to do, and I write my songs the way I want to write them. I record them the way I want to record them. And, you know, heck to everything else. Doesn't matter.
I think it's better to do that anyway, from what I've heard from other singers, to do it
Yeah.
yourself. Because then you own the rights.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Especially, when you get a little bit older country singer like myself or older artist, those rights are really important because
Hmm.
every time you play your songs live or every time they're playing on the radios around the world, you get those pennies, and those pennies do add up a little bit, and so I almost feel blessed that I never had a major record label contract because
Right.
um because somebody else would have been taking 50, 60, 70% of my work. And now it all comes back to me through many different sources. The internet's gotten so good at collecting royalties from Asia and Japan and Australia and New Zealand and Canada. And so you get these checks coming in and they're not big, but a couple small piles make a bigger pile.
Right. Yeah, that's very smart to do that.
Yeah.
So, do you have any upcoming events? I know that you're in Europe right now. Do you plan on, you're gonna be performing, I assume, in Europe for the rest, like the next couple of months, but are you gonna be coming to the States anytime?
Yeah, I'll be coming. I'm coming back to the States to write my 11th or to record my 11th CD, and I'll record that in Nashville. I think the 6th, 7th, and 8th of November. And so I just landed here today in Germany, and now I'm going to turn around. I have shows Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday here in Germany, and then a few more. And then I have to write this doggone CD about as fast as I can. And then I'm going to fly to Nashville and record, yeah, 12 songs. And that CD will come out in February. So I'm pretty happy about that. And my players in Nashville are the same players that like Alan Jackson uses on his records. So the records are really, really great quality. You know, they're all the best studio musicians. And so I'm very lucky to have met these guys early on in my career. And we just, I wouldn't say that we became great friends, but we became really good colleagues. You know, and they scratched my back a little bit and helped me out. I appreciate that.
It's great. Well, do you want to talk about any of your songs that you wrote recently?
Well, um, I might talk about one song in particular that we kind of talked about a little bit ago because, off air, because it's interesting. I'm a Montana songwriter and, the Midwest, we certainly have our own vibe, you know. And one thing that always kind of interested me is and my sister was a farmer's wife. And farmers' wives, first of all, they work their tails off. You know, when, when the husband's out there plowing the fields, she's usually bringing him the coffee, the lunch, the dinner, plus taking care of the kids, getting them up for school, getting them off, making their lunches probably. Um, and in harvest season, it's 24/7. And so I grew up around this whole community of farmers. Even though my father wasn't a farmer, he was actually the superintendent of the school. But I got to witness all this, you know, with my friends and then with my sister. And I just kind of had this thought, you know, I thought to myself, because I write songs by what I see and what I feel from other people. So I kind of had this thought that I bet my sister Jackie's laying there in bed some mornings and like, man, I just wish the heck it was raining, you know, because then you'd have to come back here and, you know, spend the morning with me, you know, and I'll make the coffee and we can talk about what's next, you know. And so Jackie, unfortunately, after COVID, we don't know if it was COVID related, but she did pass here a couple of years ago, but she did get to hear the song before she passed. And it's called, Wish It Were Raining. And I'll do that for you.
That'd be great.
That's, yeah,
I'm sure the
yeah.
audience will love that. It's a beautiful song.
Wish It Were Raining. She had a tear in her eyes when he turned out the light. She shivered just one day. Can't you forget that alarm? Tears welled up as he turned off that light. She softly said, forgive me, please. I'm trying to save this farm. I wish it were raining, 'cause you'd have to stay right here with me. And I'd hold you in my arms. We spend the day talking where we go from here. And I'd make the coffee and we'd forget about everything out there. She said, I'm sorry for saying, but I wished it were raining. He put his overalls on, walked down to the barn, just like he'd done every day for years. Turned that radio on. But he heard something strange this morning in the tone of her voice. He started thinking she wasn't asking him to stay. She was giving him a choice when she said, I wish it was raining. You'd have to stay right here with me. I'll hold you in my arms and we'll spend the day talking where we go from here. And I'll make the coffee and we'll forget about everything out there, she said. Sorry for saying, but I wished it were raining. Well, he came to realize that he neglected certain things. Took another look to the sky and thought, might be a storm coming in. Took off his overalls, the ones he just put on. She looked surprised in her face and asked, baby, what's going on? And he said, I can tell. It's gonna be raining. There's no sense in working out there today. Think I'll stay with you, hold you in my arms, and we'll talk where we go from here. I'll make the coffee, and we'll forget about everything out there. He said, thank you for saying that you wished it were raining. I wish it were raining. You'd have to stay right here with me. And I'll hold you in my arms. We'll spend the day talking where we go from here. And I'll make the coffee. And we'll forget about everything out there. He said, thank you for saying that you wished it were raining. Darling, thank you for saying that you wished it were raining.
That was awesome. I love that song. I love it. I think it's such a good song because, a lot of farmers, like the community I live in, I live on a farm, but like there's farms everywhere. And I mean, it's so true. It probably reaches a
Yeah.
lot of people. That song is like perfect because it's the facts. I mean, it is when it's always work, like the horses every day. We don't get a break, you know?
Yeah. And we have sayings like simplistic sayings, behind every, behind every successful man is a strong woman. Now that's kind of a simple thing, but when I would see my sister and my mom, and they raised 5 kids each,
Mhm.
and none of us would be successful or have anything without them. I mean, my dad is awesome too. There's no doubt about it. I mean, he's the inspiration of my life, and but he wasn't there 10, 12 hours a day when he was working, and somebody was taking care of all that. And so with that song right there, I just kind of tried to bring across what I felt. And now, see, I'm a guy, so I probably don't really capture it really well, but I try to put myself in people's positions when I write songs. And so I kind of thought, well, that might be what my sister's feeling, up there raising those 5 kids and getting them off to school every day and, on and on and on. So anyways, yeah.
Right. Yeah, I'm sure that is what she was feeling. I totally agree with you. And I think you wrote it perfectly fine. I mean, I think it would touch a woman's heart too. So, yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
So, is there any advice you can give out to new artists that's maybe getting in the industry?
Yeah. I don't know if any of it's any good.
Okay.
I can always spout something. Yeah, for new artists, we're talking about people that maybe want to write their own material and things like that.
Mhm.
Yeah, I would say build your career, write your songs, play your clubs in your area, you know, find your fan base, record your records and sell them. I think I just had a bunch of marbles fall down, so sorry about that.
It's okay. I didn't hear it, so it's all
That's
good.
okay. But find your 10 or 15 clubs that you can play, record your product as best you can, maybe get good players and then go sell those CDs. And then when you come back for the next CD, uh, don't chase the vibe that's out there that's always new and fresh. There's always, like now we got Beyonce and we got everything. Don't chase all that. Just stay true to who you are. Come out with your second CD. And somebody told me one time, a long time ago, they said, Doug, um, music is your career and you're taking a long term, you're going to try to build that in 10 years or 12 years so you can live off that. But what you might have to do to eat until you get to that point might be a different conversation. So the point was you might have to go fry burgers or you might have to go work on a ranch and you might have to build stability, have that stability in your life and do everything you need to do, build your social media, build your fan clubs, have the shows, learn how to manage a band, learn how to mix a PA, learn how to everything, all that side of it until you get so successful over here that you don't need this McDonald's job anymore. And I think what I see with a lot of young artists, kids, young adults, social media people, is that they kind of think that, they can just snap a selfie and they're going to be a brand or something like that. I mean, this takes years. I mean, you know this. I mean,
Right.
this takes a
Exactly.
long time to develop. And if I could say something to young artists, I would say that. I would say, you better plan on 10 years and what you're trying to do is you're not trying to get rich overnight. You're trying to build a sustainable income, for example, I have a Excel spreadsheet with 400 places on it that I've played. And, I don't really ask for shows that much anymore. I just call people and visit with them, you know? And they know who I am, and because I'm consistent and I have integrity with my work, and I put on a good show, and I've done that plan that I've just said, 10 CDs over many years. They know who I am. If I just call them and say, hey, how you doing? Doug, we were thinking about getting you back in here. So then you get to a point that you don't have to push anymore. Okay, I'm not an Alan Jackson. I'm not a Garth Brooks. But I own all the royalties to all my own songs, and I get to do what the heck I want to do. And there's a lot of satisfaction that comes from that too, when you're not owned or controlled by a big machine, so to speak.
Right.
Because I mean, I don't know Garth, and I don't know Alan Jackson, but I bet they wish sometimes they could come play the shows that I play. Because it's really nice to sit in a room with 60 or 80 people that just are hanging on every word you sing. And they don't have that, they can't do that because they're too big. So there's some advantages to never hitting the big time. I know that sounds weird to say in today's society.
No, I think you're onto something. I mean, because they'll be controlled the rest of their career because the record label that they're under owns the rights, is my
Right.
understanding. So they probably only get a percentage of
Yes.
the royalties.
Yeah, it's typical that a young artist, if they don't write their songs, they get maybe 7% out of every CD that sells, which
Hmm.
isn't very much.
Yeah.
If they do write their songs, then they'll get closer to half
Hmm.
of the CDs. Okay, so that's okay. But the record labels, a lot of the bigger ones, they try to push them to record the songs that maybe Sony or Universal already have in their catalog, that other songwriters have written. And they say, well, that song that you wrote there, that's a pretty good song, Wish It Were Raining. But Doug, we got this other song called, Think of the Changes or something like that. and we think it's a better song. So then you record one of their songs, and then they earn all the royalties for it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think also in today's, I don't want to get too boring. I mean, this can really get bogged down if I'm not careful here. I know that. So I'm trying to keep it a little bit quicker and lighter. But then I think what happens is that, artists never really get to develop themselves as a person and as a writer and as an artist. And they're always waiting on somebody to make it for them. And I think in today's society, especially with the social media, especially with programs like yours, there's so many outlets out there to try and build your brand, and you're better off building your own brand. That's what I would say to young artists. And if they have any questions, just ring me up and I'll guide them through it.
I think it's great advice because I've heard that from other artists, it's better to do it yourself.
Yeah.
Because then you're not controlled by someone else. And you're
I
earning
think
more
so.
money too from it too.
Yeah. I mean, we're not rolling in the dough, but there's some satisfaction in doing things the way you want to do them.
Right. Where can everyone find you? Do you have a website that you want to share with the audience?
Sure. It's DougAdkins.com, and that's DOUGADKINS. And, of course, everybody thinks of Trace Atkins, and, but that's not it. And, so there's a few names out there like that, but it's actually ADKINS.com, Doug Adkins. And, of course, I'm on Instagram, and we don't do as good with some of those things as we should, but definitely you can find me on Instagram. You can find me on, is it X or is it Twitter? I guess it's X.
Maybe X, yeah. I'm not sure. I'm not on Twitter, so I'm not on X either, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm on Facebook and Instagram.
Facebook for sure, definitely Doug Adkins Country, and I have a YouTube channel where people can just go sit and watch videos, and we're adding more all the time. And then of course all the streaming sites, which I'll send to you, Spotify, Amazon, Deezer, Tidal, Soundcraft, all of them. And so if they want to go listen to that song, Wish It Were Raining, it's there for them. So.
Thank you so much for coming on. Is there anything else that you want to talk about today?
Well, I would just maybe not so much really, but I think that, we're kind of, we're very lucky to have this sort of situation where someone like you can come on and, invite me to be part of your show. And so, for me, I almost see it more powerful than radio, because if I'm on radio, if my song plays on a radio station, they maybe hear it once and then they forget about it and they move on. But if somebody's going to tune into a show like yours and watch this, they pretty much know who I am. So I guess, thank you for doing this, and, to the people out there that see this, I think, let's support these types of things, because they're really, really powerful for guys like me to help get our image or what we want to have across. So, and which is what we want to have come across, is that people fall in love with their songs, and that it means something to them. So that's the goal.
Thank you. And thank you for the kind words. And I loved having you on, and I love the song that you played. I actually like that song a lot.
Yeah.
It does relate to me too, to a point, not totally, but you understand, so with the horses and everything. But
Yeah.
well, everyone out there that's been tuning in, thank you again for watching. Until next time, take care, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
She said, please won't you stay? I'll keep you warm. just one day. Can't you forget that alarm? She wiped a tear from her eye before it turned on that light. She softly said, hear me please, I'm trying to save this farm. I wish it were raining, 'cause you'd have to stay right here with me. I'd hold you in my arms, we'd spend the day talking where we go from here. I'd make the coffee and we'll forget about everything out there. She said, I'm sorry for saying, but I wish it were raining. He put his overalls on, walked down to the barn, just like he'd done every day for years. Turned that radio on, but he heard something strange this morning in the tone of her voice. He started thinking she wasn't asking him to stay, she was giving him a choice when she said, I wish it were raining, 'cause you'd have to stay right here with me. I'll hold you in my arms, we'd spend the day talking where we go from here. I'd make the coffee and we'll forget everything out there. She said, I'm sorry for saying, but I wish it were raining. He come to realize he'd neglected certain things. Took another look to the sky and thought, might be a storm coming in. Took off his overalls, the ones he just put on. She looked surprised in her face and asked, baby, what's going on? And he said, I can tell it's gonna be raining. No sense in working out there today. Thought I'd stay with you, hold you in my arms. We'd talk where we go from here. I'll make the coffee and we'll forget about everything out there. He said, thank you for saying that you wished it were raining. Baby, thank you for saying that you wished it were raining.